I'm just curious. I don't know that you have an answer for this question, but I can't help it because I think we see the film and we have a certain, as Jeffrey was saying, we get a certain sense of the man from this film that we might not get from some of the other films, especially when he's playing the tramp, which is a very specific character. But having worked with him, having spent time with him, you call him a genius and you say it was the happiest time that you've ever had and a brilliant director. What was there about him specifically that was so singular that you remember as being something that was different, or that that we might not get from just watching the film, that knowing him and being with him?
But you will get it from watching the film.
Okay.
I mean, he was a genius, and it's very clear that he was in the film. And also, I think Norman will agree, the film is very much so personal to Charlie that you will feel closer to him, and maybe that is why young people like it, and I'm very glad they do. I think it's wonderful that they do. You will feel closer to Charlie the man seeing this film than in any of the other films where he plays a character magnificently, but this is different. This is him. This is the actor when he says in the dressing room, Buster Keaton said, "I thought you," or maybe I said it, goodness, "I thought you hated the theater."
Oh, that's one of the best lines, his response.
Yeah, he said, "Yes, I
also hate the sight of blood, but it's in my veins."
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the extraordinary thing about Limelight. I think that's one of the reasons why Randy wanted to program it, is that it's a masterpiece that deserves reappraisal. And the conundrum that Limelight is in is that it needs an audience. Now you can say, oh, Lawrence Arabia, all these films need an audience. But Limelight was designed and timed for an audience in the sense that all of the great music hall routines, specifically the Chaplin and Keaton duet, is without audience response. It plays in stony silence because Chaplin was anticipating you'd be watching it in a large theater. So when you watch this on home video or on Turner Classic Movies or whatever, in stony silence, it sort of has a ghoulish effect. But put the film back in a theater, this very theatrical film, in the theater, as you've seen, Claire, at the BFI at Bologna, tonight, hopefully. Chaplin's spell, it conjures up. It's here. And I hope that you'll get a sense of Chaplin. Because we have a miracle of an evening. We have Norman Lloyd, who was one of Chaplin's friends from the tennis court, that actually, born in 1914, is Chaplin's original audience. We have Claire Bloom, Chaplin's last leading lady. And we have a new print of this film. And we have photographs from the original negatives here at the Academy. It's just, I hope Chaplin comes alive to everyone on some level. Do we want to talk about Buster Keaton and give him his due before we...
Did you meet Buster?
I had nothing to do with him. He never talked.
He never spoke.
He never spoke.
No.
But you saw him. You saw him on the set.
Saw him. I watched. Did you? I watched. I sat in the audience and watched them filming those incredible scenes on stage. But he, as far as I know, he never said a word to anybody.
So what was that like as far as when they were working together? What was going on?
It seems to work.
Yeah.
I will tell one story about Buster talking. I hope I can project it. It was the last scene of the picture. If you recall, I hope I'm not spoiling the ending for the audience.
Don't tell them what happens.
Let's just say that it's a great historic teaming. There's a lot of rumors that swirled around the Chaplin and Keaton partnership. I knew Eleanor Keaton, Buster's widow, and wrote a book with her. And naturally, I was very interested to get to the root of all these Chaplin-Keaton stories, having talked to Jerry Epstein, all the people that were on the set of Limelight. All I can tell you is that they got along very well. You have to remember that the teaming was not necessarily historic at the time. Keaton was just a great clown that was available, and Chaplin readily embraced the opportunity to work with this peer. They worked very well. There's a great photographic record of them by the photo essayist Eugene Smith. They worked together on the routine. Afterwards, Eleanor Keaton told me it was Raymond Rauhauer, Keaton's business partner, that started to create these rumors that actually the best footage was of Keaton's and was cut. When I brought that up to Sidney Chaplin, Charlie's son, who's in Limelight, he just looked at me and he said, as if he had never heard any of these stories before, he said to me, "That's not right. The story is that Calvera makes a comeback. It would be inconsistent if Keaton or any other actor overpowered him. That just wasn't in the story." They got on very well. It's a wonderful sort of monument to the visual comedy tradition, of which those two men were the masters. And think only positive things about it, because that's how Chaplin and Keaton thought of it. There was no rivalry. It was just working for art and that beauty, and that informed Limelight for you. Because for Chaplin, it was all about living and making life meaningful through art. And there was no one-upsmanship. It was all towards the beauty of that final product. Am I right?
I'm going to tell my story. This did happen. It was the last scene of the picture. Charlie, in this last scene, it won't spoil the picture. He dies. It won't spoil the picture. I won't go into the details of the scene, but at a given point in this scene, it all happens on stage of the theater. He is removed, lying dead. As prostrate. The camera pulls back as he, on this portable carrier they put him on after he's collapsed, pulls back towards the wings. In the scene at the time are Buster Keaton, Nigel Bruce, who always said, "Don't call me Nickel." Nigel Bruce, Sidney Chaplin, and myself. And as the camera pulls back, and this contraption that they've laid Charlie on is pulling back, we go back with it. So the shot is always in front of us. And the camera's holding on Charlie as it pulls back. During the shot, I hear what I think is whispering. And I strain my neck, and it's Buster. And he is saying, as we pull back, "Hold still, Charlie." He's not moving his lips. And it's a whisper. And he's saying, "Hold still, Charlie. Don't move. Yeah, you're right in the center of the shot. Yeah, it's good. Hold it. Right in the center. You hold it. Hold it. Yeah. Right in the center. Yeah, right in the center. Yeah. Keaton directing Chaplin. One of the great moments in the history of dramaturgy.